All right, class, today we're going to be doing long division with a remainder. A remainder is what is left over in a division problem. And you'll see this in the problems that we do today. There are 5 steps to long division. And the first step is to divide. The second step is multiply. The third step is subtract. The fourth step is drag and drop. And the fifth step is to repeat the process and start with number 1, divide. So let's do number 1, problem number 1 here, which is 692 divided by 4. So with the first step, let's divide. So 4 divided by 6. Can 4 go into 6? Yes, it can. So we can go 4 divided into 6 goes once. So we'll put that 1 above the 6. And then we'll go on to the second step, which is multiply. And we'll go 4 times 1 is 4. And then we'll go on to the third step, which is subtract. 4 subtract 6 is 2. And then we'll go to the fourth step, which is to drag and drop, which will drop that 9 down here by the 2, which will make that 29. And we'll repeat the process. And we'll start with number 1. And we'll go 4 divided into 29. And 4 is less than 29, so we can do that. But we're going to have to find out how many times 4 can go into 29. So over here, we're going to go 4 times 3. Let's start off with that one. 4 times 3 is 12, equals 12. So yeah, 12 can go into 29, but there's a kind of a gap in between those numbers. So let's try another one. Let's try 4 times 5. 4 times 5 equals 20. And 20 will go into 29, but still there's a little gap. So let's try 4 times 7. And let's see what that gives us. 4 times 7 equals 28. So that, we're definitely going to go with that one because 28 is just 1 less than 29, and it will go into 29. So we're gonna divide 4 into 29, and we'll get 7. And then we're gonna go on to step 2, which is multiply. 4 times 7 is 28. And then we'll do the third step, which is subtract. 28 subtract 29 is 1. And then we'll go on to the fourth step, which is to drag and drop. We'll drop that number 2 down by the 1, which makes that out to be 12. And then we'll repeat the process. We'll come up here and we'll go 4 divided into 12. It will go into 12 because it's smaller, it's less than 12. But we're going to have to see how many times 4 goes into 12. So we like we did before, look at this chart over here, and let's match it up. 4 times 3 equals 12. So that's the right number that we want to use. 4 divided into 12 is 3. So the next step is multiply. 4 times 3 is 12. And we're gonna subtract that, and that comes out to be 0. So class, right here, we got lucky. We didn't have a remainder. Our answer is 173. But we're going to go on to another problem. And the second problem that we'll do, we'll use 738 divided by 8. So to start off the problem, we do the first step, which is divide. 8 divided into 7 can't work because 7 is smaller than 8. So we're going to have to go on to the second number, which makes 73. Now we're going to do 8 divided into 73, which 8 will go into 73 because it's less than 73. But we're going to have to find out how many times 8 can go into 73. So over here, we're going to do a chart. 8 times, let's say 8 times 4. 8 times 4 equals 32. So 32 will go into 73, but there's a big gap between those two numbers. So let's try 8 times 6. 8 times 6 is 48. 48 will go into 73, but still there's a gap. So let's try 8 times 8. 8 times 8 is 64, and 64 will go into 73, but still there's a gap between those two numbers. So let's try 8 times 9 and see what we get. 8 times 9 is 72. And 72, that's a good number because 72 will go into 73. And that is really close. That's really close to 73. So 8 divided by 73 is 9. We put the 9 above the 3. And then we're going to do the second step, multiply. 8 times 9 is 72. Then the third step, we're going to subtract, which is 72 subtract 73, which is 1. And then we do the fourth step, which is, class, what is the fourth step? It's drag and drop. So we're going to drop that 8, and we're going to repeat. We're going to do number 1, divide. 8 divided into 18. It does go into 18 because it's less, but we're going to have to find out how many times 8 will go into 18. So we're going to start off with 8 times 2. 8 times 2 equals 16. And 16 will go into 18, but let's experiment here. 8 times 3. 8 times 3 is 24. So 24 is, can 24 go into 18, class? No, it can't, because 24 is bigger than 18. So we're going to need to use 16. 8 times 2 equals 16. So 8 divided into 18 is 2. 8 times 2 equals 16. So we put that 2 above the 8, and then we times that, and we put the 16 underneath the 18, and then the third step is to subtract. And 16 subtract 18 is 2. So we can't go into step 4 because there are no numbers to drag or drop. So our remainder is number 2. It looks like our remainder is number 2, but let's find out if it is. So we're going to build the division house. We're going to bring that 8 down here, and we're going to go 8 divided into 2. Can we do that, class? No, we can't. Because, why? Why can't we do it? Yep, that's right. Because 8 is bigger than 2. So 2 is our remainder. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring that 2 up here, and we're going to put an R there for abbreviation or a short version of remainder. We put an R up here, and then we put the 2 by the R, or a little above the R. So our answer is 92 remainder 2. And that is how we do long division with a remainder. And that, class, so do all of you get this? Do any of you have questions? Okay, so let's try one more. Let's try one more problem here. Okay, so the third problem that we're going to do will be 932 divided by 5. 932 divided by 5. So, what is the first step? Divide. So we divide. So 5. Can 5 go into 9? Yes, 5 can go into 9. So 5 divided into 9 is 1. Because if we do 5 times 2, that's 10, and that's big. That's too big, or that's a bigger number. So let's go with 1. 5 divided by 5 divided into 9 is 1. 5 times 1 is 5. And then the third step is to subtract. And so now, what do we do, class? 5 subtract 9 comes out as 4. And then what's the fourth step? The fourth step is drag and drop. So we drop that 3 down here, and it comes out as 43. And then we repeat the process. We divide that 5 into 43. So 5 can go into 43, but we don't know how many times 5 can go into 43. So let's work this out. Let's make a chart. 5 times 3 equals 15. Will that work? Yeah, that could work. I mean, 5 can go into 43, but there's such a big gap. So let's try something else. 5 times, let's say 6. 5 times 6 equals 30. Okay, will that work? That could work. I mean, 30 can go into 43, but there's still a gap. So let's try 5 times 8. 5 times 8 is 40. That equals 40. So 40 can go into 43, and it's the closest out of all these numbers. And, you know, just to make it interesting or experiment here, let's try 5 times 9. 5 times 9 equals 45. So 45, will that work, class? No, that won't work because, what's the reason? Because 45 is bigger than 43. So we're going to have to go with this one, 5 times 8, which equals 40. So we go 5, we do the first step, divide. 5 divided by 43 is 8. And now we times the second step. 5 times 8 is 43. So we put the 8 above the 3 here, and then we times 5 by 8. We put the 40 down here underneath 43, and the next step, the third step, is subtract. So let's go through that. Let's do that. 40 subtract 43 is 3. And then we do the fourth step, which is, what is it, class? It is to drop, drag and drop. So we drop that 2 down here by the 3, which makes 32. And then we just repeat the process. And we start off with the first step, which is divide. And we go 5 divided into 32, which we can do because, what, class? Because 5 is less than 32, but we don't know how many times 5 can go into 32. So we're going to have to look at our chart here. Let's look at our chart over here. 5 times 3 is 15. Will that work? Yeah, that'll work. 15 can go into 32, but there's a gap. So let's skip on to 5 times 6, which is 30. Will that work, class? Yeah, that'll work because it's a small, it isn't a gap. It's just 2 less than 32. So let's use that one. Let's use 5 times 6, which equals 30. So 5 divided into 32 is 6. And then the next step, 5 times 6 is 30, which we're going to put down here. So we put the 6 above the 2, and then we times it. And then we put the 30, the answer, below 32. And then we're going to go on to the third step, which is subtract. And we're going to subtract 30. 30 subtract 32 is 2. And so looks like we're unable to go on to the fourth step because there are no more numbers to drop. So it looks like 2's our remainder. How many of you agree on 2's our remainder? Yep, you're right. 2's our remainder. So what are we going to do, class? Yep, we're gonna bring that 2 up here, and 2 becomes, what does 2 become? It becomes our remainder. Yep, good job, class. 2 becomes our remainder. So we write R right here, and then we write 2 off to the side, a little above the R. And so our answer, it comes out as 186 remainder 2. So let's square that so that we know our work and the process we went through shows the results, which is 186 remainder 2.